Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for attending this portion of the Innovation Briefs. My name is Harold Katz. I represent a company called Syspro. I'm the Technology Enabling Manager at Syspro, and I specialize in really identifying technologies for companies to enable them to compete. This afternoon I'll be dealing with ERP software, how it enables businesses to lean and green and prosper specifically in this new normal economy that we are faced with. During the early years of the decade, the adoption of green practices was a major concern for manufacturers and distributors. While government did legislate certain issues, it was really left up to the manufacturer or the business sector to really implement these green principles. What we find today is that a lot of companies are adopting green really very much from a marketing point of view, but in an operational sphere, they're really getting back to basics, and they're looking how to really save costs, reduce costs to remain viable in this new normal economy. And a lot of the green initiatives are really being placed on the back burner. The shift really has, in this new normal economy, really moved from lean or from green to lean. However, when you look at lean and green, they're really two sides to the same coin. I'll explain how both lean and green are achieved via the judicious selection and implementation of enterprise resource planning or ERP software, due to really the savings that ERP software can produce. Such software is also essential to prospering in this new normal economy. Why is this new normal economy really a concern? The severity of this current recession that we've lived through for the last 3 years has really brought one point to the forefront. And that's really the old spending patterns that we were used to are not sustainable. People looked at financing by taking the assets and refinancing the assets, and specifically in the manufacturing sector, the way to improve margins was really just to put up your prices. At the same time, manufacturing and distribution entities are really faced with rising costs, rising energy costs, rising labor and material costs, and they really need a different way to maintain and boost their margins. The simple fact is that in the new normal economy, people and businesses are going to have to really live within their means. In this new normal economy, we know the growth rate is around 2%, and several certainties really follow. Businesses cannot be conducted in the same manner that they were. The market today is highlighted by really a new kind of consumer, and a consumer that really demands. Cash is king, discounts are standard, and consumers really have a much higher expectation, and they expect higher service levels and lower costs. This means that really in this manufacturing and distribution world, manufacturers have to realize smaller profit margins, and the economies of scale that we benefited from in yesteryear are no longer apparent. Companies will really only have one place to look at in order to prosper, and that's towards technology. So how is it possible for these manufacturers and distributors to really adopt lean environments? The focus really shifts from the supply chain within the company to a holistic view of the supply chain that emphasizes an approach to the entire supply chain. Companies need strategic intelligence. They need visibility within their businesses. They need to be able to get to the underlying information and statistics within their businesses. And decisions really need to be made about what is best for the company, and these decisions need to be made very efficiently and very quickly. Technology becomes a necessity to being able to achieve these objectives. According to AMR research, we are now seeing mid-market firms take the next steps towards looking for additional cost saving and process efficiencies from business system improvements. This is a result of a recent AMR research that also reveals that cost reductions and efficiencies continue to rule the day as the primary driver when making technology purchases and technology decisions. So really, how can manufacturers and distributors really live within their means? As I said, the first step is to implement an ERP system or enterprise resource planning solution that coordinates all resources, all information and activities to execute business processes as well as measure performance within the business. Real-time enterprise software such as Syspro, the company that I represent, provides an operational business infrastructure in which businesses can really formulate strategic vision and act out on information that the system presents to them. This is really the foundation of the new lean green environment. This ability to be able to have visibility into your enterprise and really make decisions that are supported by realistic and evident data. The biggest expenses entities face today center really around labor and inventory. The just-in-time make-to-order concept, so prevalent in the American industry only a few years ago, has given way to a more costly make-to-stock model, where the value add of labor results in significantly higher costs of maintaining inventories. You know, over the last few days, just speaking to some of the manufacturers and distributors, I think the prevailing trend at this trade show has really been companies coming up to Syspro asking how can they move away, you know, from this make-to-stock environment. How can they reduce their inventory levels so that they can generate the cash required in their business, so that when the economy truly starts picking up at a bigger pace, that they do have the cash flow within their business to sustain. ERP solutions such as Syspro can aid manufacturers in returning to a more cost-effective lean and green make-to-order environment. By presenting real-time snapshots of their business and providing valid information within the business, management can make decisions that can assist them in working their way through the new normal economy and working out of this recession. Syspro's approach or strategy towards lean and green really centers around a couple of specific areas. We focus on providing the tools for companies, for manufacturers and distributors around energy saving, around the reuse of resources, around reduction of waste. We provide this by offering an extremely efficient system for electronic data management, forecasting and inventory optimization. These are some of the examples of some of the functionality within Syspro and within a lot of the ERP products. Things like real-time alerts, the ability for a system to automatically alert somebody via their mobile telephone or a cell phone or BlackBerry once a specific inventory level has been reached. Automatic ordering, inventory optimization, embedded forecasting, embedded RTA, RTV, scrap analysis. These are all features that are built around enabling companies to meet their green and lean initiatives. Just to tell you why Syspro is a winner in this specific industry, and we may apply to your specific business. Syspro focuses at SME. We focus at the lower mid-markets, a manufacturer and distributor. We provide end-to-end solutions for mid-market manufacturers and distributors. We focus at providing tools to companies like yours so that you can effectively compete against much bigger companies in the marketplace. We've been in the mid-market for 30 years. We're in over 60 countries. We have over 15,000 licensed companies using our software. And as I said, we only focus at mid-market manufacturers, SMEs, and we view ourselves as an enabler, giving you the ability to compete. Syspro has been very effective at monitoring industry trends. We are very customer focused in that we look at all our enhancements are customer driven. We totally committed to the lean and green environment and allowing our customers to meet their lean and green expectations, to better compete and to prosper. I'm going to open up to the floor, and are there any questions that anybody would like to ask in this area of technology enablement in the lean green environment for manufacturers and distributors? Just correct me if I'm wrong. One of the questions was does the system output data that would assist some of the, specifically the example was like the IKEAs or the Walmarts in meeting the data requirements that they may be pushing on to smaller mid-market manufacturers and distributors? It's a very pertinent question. The answer to that is absolutely yes. So what Syspro does is obviously we work on standard out-of-the-box green footprint reports. And obviously a lot of the impetus and a lot of the enforcement really for companies to comply or meet lean and green environments are not necessarily coming from legislation, but coming from their trading partners. So absolutely that's a specific focus. Just to give you an idea, one of the areas that Syspro has actually focused on is providing solutions to distributors who supply into some of the larger chains, the Walmarts, the IKEAs, where there's a prevalence to doing, I would call them specific deals, 2-for-1s. So we have a specific system that facilitates or allows manufacturers and distributors supplying to these stores, gives them the ability to track. At the same time, we have looked at adopting a green approach to providing that kind of reporting also back to a Walmart. So if you're providing, let's say, a larger retail organization, 500,000 products a year, and they are repackaging, sending 50,000 products back to you without implementing some kind of recycle or reuse or repackaging program, then obviously that also plays against a particular supplier's green footprint. So we've looked at both being reactive with regard to providing this reporting, where you do have the ability to report out to these larger companies that insist on how they trade with a lot of the smaller manufacturers, but at the same time looking intrinsically at our system and saying how can we use the system to force these larger guys to really do better business with them. Any other questions? Any other questions? Okay, we are for the next couple of hours at our booth in the next door hall. Feel free to pop by and come take a look at our software. I'll give it to you now. Thank you.